Hold on, guys. Hold on. No. Nope, we're not doing this today. Nope.
Oh yeah,
nope.
I don't have time for it.
Yeah, because we were about to get into nope. You guys ready?
No, yeah.
Because I know this is gonna be like that was gonna be like a 20-minute talk. No.
I was just trying to do a cold open real quick, but
Now I feel like shit. I'm sorry.
It's all sorts of sports. Welcome to the show.
Welcome back to All Sorts of Sports. Okay. Nothing.
all about business today, apparently.
All right, fine.
All sorts of sports. All sorts of sports.
Gotta let that pain. Let that pain go.
Yep.
Jesus, it's like I think he's saying Van Gogh. I don't know if this is some sort of artistic thing he's going for. It's painful. It's painful.
Episode 77.
Starring Keem, maybe.
Well, if you want to start it over, and you guys can do it.
Oh, no, you're good now. You're good. You're good now. You're good. All right.
Plus, you're an easy target.
We're all targets. All right. So, episode 77.
That's what we're voting.
We're going to start off with the Bucks winning the title. This happened earlier this week. Our last pod was mainly football. So, we wanted to have a separate pod focused only on basketball. The Bucks won the title. Giannis did it. What happened, like, when you guys saw the Bucks won? Like, what did you feel?
I felt that Budenholzer pulled the wool over all of our eyes, and he just told Giannis, he's like, miss every free throw until we need you to hit every free throw. And then Giannis couldn't miss from the free throw line. And then he dominated inside. And he took a three, but he made it. He did take a three.
He did.
But like he was an unstoppable force. And when that happens,
K-Dot, hold on. Because I know you got like a 5-minute thing to go.
and I do have to say that for someone who I thought was a budding superstar, Booker disappeared in that game. He was giving up what I thought were decent looks. He wasn't getting around the defense without the ball. Look, I know the Bucks are a great defensive team, but for someone
Holiday.
Yeah, but I mean, Book had like what 2 30-point games, right? So like
Drew Holiday is what Patrick Beverly wants to be.
I mean, yeah, the Bucks deserve to win. They did everything right. Budenholzer didn't screw the pooch. And Giannis is a superstar. That's all there is to it.
All right.
He's got a great supporting cast. It's not just him, but
yeah.
It's
not a super team, but it's a good team.
No, it's a super team.
Not really. All right, Keem. Okay. K-Dot, you go.
Who's going to jail tonight? I'm sorry. I'm literally just singing the fucking Jay-Z Kanye thing. That's the only thing in my head right now. But I will say that when the Bucks won the NBA championship, there's one word I'd probably use to describe it more than any other. Fucking vindicated, baby! Giannis is unstoppable in the paint. I've been saying this over and over and over and over and you get it? When they do this style of play, he is the most unstoppable force in the NBA that we've seen, like I've said, since Shaq. There is no blueprint right now on how to stop him. What Giannis did was take Ayton's heart, pull it out of his chest, stomp it out. And when I'm looking across the league, there's not a lot of people that I really think can match up with that. Like I look at Joel, if he wasn't made of toothpicks like AD was, where they probably break down in a series with him. When you want to look at Jokic, too slow. You want to look at all these other guys, and he's learning so much in there too. All right, I'm going to back up a sec. Coach Bud, I will say more than anything, and I gave him props on this pod at the beginning of this series, did do what I didn't think he was capable of doing, which was switch things up and change it up. Defensively, they were throwing a lot of different things at the Suns. You see, I mean, there's an element of Chris Paul that kind of broke down. I think that there were some things that they were doing on defense with Drew against Booker and Paul, which made sure that they didn't have their best output. But once again, Chris Paul did kind of break down, so that is one of those storylines that come out of this thing. But what they did defensively, especially looking at the Suns and whether it was the momentum that they had coming into this series, everybody kind of thought, especially early on when the Suns had these 2 wins, that lights out. It was about to be over. And you see Giannis go and dig down and do exactly what it is that I've been begging him to do. Stop jacking up the threes. I think the most threes he threw in a game that they've won were 2. And that to me is that's the recipe. You have a lot of shooters on that team. Do what you need to do to give Giannis the ball, put him in the paint. If they double him or whatever, kick that shit out. And if they don't, he's got 20 different moves right now that he can use on you. And if you try to, and he's learning that, the more I'm doing this, the more I'm realizing nobody can really stop me. Or they're going to get a foul. And you know what Giannis is not afraid to do, like Ben Simmons? Go out to that fucking free throw line and struggle. And guess what he didn't do in this final game? Struggle at all with free throws. It was a fucking all-time kind of performance from the free throw line. Giannis is the fucking man. Milwaukee put together a hell of a run. And I think more than anything, they kind of saved the league. I mean, I was on here talking about how the Nets could have ruined the league if they won because the super team come together. You're looking at this Bucks team, no lottery picks, baby. Giannis is a developing guy. This is a team built the old school way. This is awesome to see. The last time I remember this kind of being the case is you look at that Mavericks team that won 10 years ago.
That's what I was about to ask you, because
that's the closest you're going to find.
There were super teams then. Right. So, I don't feel like Milwaukee just saved the league. I just feel like it's history repeating itself.
It was 10 years ago.
It happens randomly like once a decade. 04 Pistons.
History just repeating itself.
It's not 11 Mavs, like 2021 Bucks. It won't happen again for another fucking 10 years. 5 at a minimum. It's cool. Let's not get caught up in the moment. It's great that they did this. Love Giannis for doing this. Glad he was able to do it because, in hindsight, the championship was Nets Bucks, and that was a great fucking series. And if KD had if he put on the right size fucking shoe, we wouldn't even be having this fucking conversation. We'd be talking about how the Nets won and they didn't even have a healthy Kyrie. And so it's just it's great. It's great, but let's not go overboard.
That is to me what it is. I'm looking across the league right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can have your Brooklyn. Once again, when they're all on the court, most talented team in the league, right? Guess what they weren't all season? All on the fucking court. And to think that these guys are all getting older and that they're all going to be on the court and healthy going forward, to me is a pipe dream. If you're looking across the power struggle across the NBA, Los Angeles Lakers, they go with LeBron and AD. AD, once again, made out of toothpicks. Bron is old. He's old now. And without them having both of those guys in that lineup, they're not winning anything. Golden State, when's the last time, on last pod that we talked about the NBA, that all those guys have been healthy together? Then you look across the league right now at the young talent, and all the guys that we're saying are up and coming have been developed with their squads. And let me remind you, when you look across who was in the playoffs there at the end, for the most part, were all teams that built up over a long period of time. Denver, Utah, all these guys. It's not some flash in the pan thing. These dudes were contending. They were all contending.
So when's the next time a team that what point are you making? Are you making the point that this is a team that won with no lottery picks, which is kind of what more
so the point the point that I'm making with that lottery pick thing is that what Giannis is doing in the way that he wanted, and the fact that everybody is looking at Giannis and rooting for him, I don't know anybody that's saying anything bad about him, is that sometimes what you see in the NBA is that, like most leagues, it's a copycat league. And there are certain trends that start to develop. And when you have the Giannis that sat there, did what he could do, you had the Milwaukee Bucks do everything they could do to do right by him, which is a lot of other organizations didn't do for their stars over periods of time. They did what they could to try to bring in Drew Holiday when they had the Chris Middleton thing, when they saw that they capped out. You started to look at Dame in Portland right now, where Portland's starting to reach that area where it's like, we have to do something for him. The same thing with the Wizards when it comes to Brad Beal. We have to do something for him. They are, I think, right now.
If that's your point, then Golden State is included in that, buddy. Because guess what was homegrown? All of that fucking talent, and all they did was.
You're 100% right,
and so
you're 100% right.
You're
100% right.
The Steph Curry.
You're 100% right. The only thing that we have in that woulda, coulda, shoulda thing when it comes to Golden State, and I've said it here on the pod, is that Steph gets his flowers right now from me because I think even if KD didn't go there, they would have still won championships. But they didn't. Yeah. KD did go there, and they did win with KD. So
and they won without him too.
I get it, but I'm saying that overall, when it comes to Golden State is, I give you that. Golden State is a well-built, from-scratch team. They had guys, but I also think Golden State hit the lottery unlike anybody I've ever seen hit the lottery in getting Steph and Clay that developed into fucking superstars when nobody would have ever thought that was even remotely possible.
And Draymond Green too.
And Draymond,
for sure, but
like it wasn't even like the thing, but it wasn't even like a developing thing. Golden State to me was something that was like, it was lightning in a bottle. Like, it's insane. It's the same thing with Dallas right now. How you go from Dirk to Luka, right? It's like this, what the fuck, like sort of thing. So with Golden State, it's like they opened up this bag of just gold. And it was like nobody could have ever expected it. I don't know any other team historically that kind of lucked themselves into having that. Because you can't even say it was like a.
I'm with you.
So I give Golden State a ton of credit there. I'm with you on that.
I want to say one thing though. Like, okay, Milwaukee won this year. Like, fair play. But they're not the only team that's like trying to use that type of model.
And that's what that was my point, James.
Like it's already been happening. It's just
started with Golden State. You look at Dallas, you look at Boston,
you look at Denver,
Atlanta, and you look at Denver, and they've been doing this for about 5 years. Yeah, and they've been Utah. They'll never get a fridge in their life, so they have to do. They don't care. But no. But like you look at them, they've been following the Golden State path. Atlanta's GM used to be with Golden State, literally. Like I mean, so like, and he brought his same like plan. He tried to go Steph and Clay with Trae Young and Kevin Huerter. Kevin Huerter is Clay. Trae Young is of
baby Steph.
Yeah, he's not there yet, but I mean,
baby Steph.
He's really good. And so like I think this is a thing that's been happening. It just depends on, to your point with Golden State, how lucky will you get? Because Boston's been doing this for years, ever since they got rid of the big three. We'll just grow our own, build our own, sign a free agent.
But Boston has one foot in each one. That's why they bring along a Kyrie. See, it doesn't fucking work out. My entire point going into this was
that's the trade though.
Brooklyn,
that's smart. I mean, Milwaukee did the same thing with Drew Holiday.
Hang on. Boston, as far as them not. Boston right now finally has the lineup that I think they're comfortable with. They were never sure exactly what it is they wanted to do. With Gordon Hayward, with Kyrie, with everything else, they had no idea.
It was a carousel for a while.
And Tatum has developed into something in which, all right, build around. Mm-hmm. Now, the idea that I have, and once I said going into this, I don't want you to hear something I'm not saying. To me, it was important that one of these teams win and not Brooklyn win. That, to me, was the important part of it. To me, is that even if it wasn't Milwaukee that won, we could have this exact same conversation if Atlanta was the one that stepped in to do it. We could have this exact conversation if Utah or Denver were to do it. In the sense of, at the end, when it was all, when the dust settled, it was old school, this is the way you develop. Now, the one thing I will give Milwaukee over any of those other teams is I think Giannis has a better trajectory than any one of those stars on any one of those teams right now. And I'm sure we'll get into more of that shit later as far as the future goes. But that's where I'm looking at with Milwaukee. Going into this season, we knew that they were going to be there in the East, but nobody saw them taking this sort of step right now. Because everybody was saying the same thing when Giannis re-signed. The fuck are you doing? That was the reaction. The reaction was, Giannis, what the fuck are you doing? You're not going to win there.
You know, they thought he was going to Dallas.
Everybody thought he was going to go anywhere else because everybody said the exact same thing. It was universal when he did it. And everybody that says something different it's revisionist history. When Giannis re-signed, we all said, the fuck are you doing? Because
he pulled the Dame Lillard route.
For sure. I think go ahead.
And I think that that's important as far as the Dame thing. I think Giannis winning gives Portland a little bit more.
No.
juice. I think them winning gives Dame a possible thinking.
Nope.
That, hey, I might ride this out because I don't quite know if the grass is greener.
All right, let me respond. No, not at all. Because Dame is what, 31 now? There's a big ass difference. If they had a long ass time for that to work, nah, not anymore. Dame doesn't have the luxury of doing that. Dame sat in Portland. He was a company man, did everything he needed to do. He performed. He never choked. He was clutch as fuck, and now nah.
And that is a huge difference. I can't deny that.
Because he's 31 and because he just saw what Milwaukee was able to do, damn, they traded for Drew Holiday. I don't think Dame's thinking like, I need a super team. I don't think Dame has ever thought that. I think
Dame is just I want help.
Like, give me some help. If you get me Drew Holiday and fucking, I don't know, Bam Adebayo, we'll be fucking okay. We'll win a fucking championship. But he hasn't been afforded the opportunity. So I don't think he'll turn
Whiteside.
Which is what I was saying. I said that it might be something for Dame, but what I thought it should be more than anything is a wake-up call to Portland, the organization.
Nah, that wake-up call already happened.
What?
When the reports were coming out like, hey, like Dame's gonna ask for a trade, and then he didn't refute it 100%. He was like, I'm gonna keep whatever we talking about in house. I mean, because that's how he is.
I'm saying that the proof is in the pudding when you're actually seeing success. That you say, hey, we have our own guy, and we just haven't been able to put a roster around. So we need to look around and we need to be aggressive, more aggressive than we ever have been. And I think that to me is that there's one thing as far as being under the gun and knowing, hey, we're going to lose this guy if he doesn't do something, compared to, look, we got a chance to go out in there and do it and to actually feel confident in making the move. And that's what I think that they're doing. I think Portland has an opportunity to actually think that they're going to do something other than, oh man, I just don't want to lose our star.
It just, as far as Dame goes, I would be more inclined if I was Dame to try and be that player that gets inserted because he's old. It's not like there's a whole lot of time to like plug and play pieces around him. There should be somewhere where he looks at, he's like, man, if I get inserted here, this is a championship contending team because they have built all their pieces right. They're just missing me as the piece, as opposed to relying on Portland to try and plug and play pieces around him. Just because he's so much farther along in his career. Like he's got a couple years and then he's like LeBron James old. So
I don't think Dame is a plug-in guy. I don't. I think Dame is a build a round guy. I think when there are certain players in the NBA because of their style of play that you kind of have to build your roster around this person compared to like when we keep talking about like when James's wet dream, Dame in Dallas, right? And I look at that and I'm saying, I don't think Dame and Luka coexist. I really don't. Like that because of you have two ball dominant guys. Period. And I think Luka overall, as far as good, would have to change the way he plays if he's going to have a Dame there. So I don't know if you're getting the exact same product.
I have a question. Does Dame work in LA?
Which one?
The Lakers. You know what I mean.
I think the Dame in LA works out a little better because there's all veterans that have seen stuff and they can manage to change.
LeBron and Luka play the same.
I don't think LeBron and Luka are the same.
LeBron is also a little older.
their play style in the fact that they use their physicality in a sense, but I wouldn't say LeBron to me has shown over the course of his career different sorts of play styles. I think if you're looking at the way he plays
now and Luka now is somewhat similar, minus the athleticism. So
I think that there's also the balance of like, and it's the same thing somebody was telling me the other day as far as when the Steph MVP talk was happening, which was that like, look, Steph is putting up numbers because there's nobody else around him, right? So it's like in the sense of, and I'm not extrapolating it, but I'm just saying that like Luka right now, you look around and you're like, is KP helping me? No. And then you look at LeBron, if it's not AD out on the court, you got to kind of do it yourself, which there's that element of it.
He's got Kyle Kuzma. Chill out.
Once again, I'm not fully extrapolating that because I don't know if I 100% buy all of that, especially the Steph stuff, because I think he had.
I also think Jason Kidd being there would help.
Keem, I know you heard me say Steph's name. It's like fucking Candyman and shit.
I was ready. Hey, I was ready.
All right, so this kind of goes in. I mean, we kind of segued into the next topic about like the season recap and like the effect of the Bucks winning.
Can I say one more thing? You'll catch Bud.
Go ahead.
Just real quick. Look, I've given him a lot of shit.
Mm-hmm.
No denying it. And
he deserved all of it.
Thank you. And that's the one thing I want to clear up is that he deserved almost all of it. Up until, and I will 100% say there were times where I pointed out during these playoff run when he did the right thing. And that I had no faith that he was going to remember the right thing for the next game. He did a damn good job in these finals as far as defensively scheming. Beyond that, I think I don't know whether or not to give the credit to Bud or Giannis, but I'm hoping we're seeing this style of Giannis going forward. And whoever deserves the credit deserves the credit.
Do you think that perhaps Budenholzer sat down with some of his players and they showed him the classic Spike Lee film, Do the Right Thing? And he was like, oh, that's all I had to do this whole time? Was
and then he threw a trash can through a window and nobody understands.
I'm just laughing at whoever deserves the credit deserves the credit.
I wanted to add one last thing earlier, and that was K-Dot was he was basically talking about how like Milwaukee, changing of the guard or whatever. I don't think you're necessarily wrong. I just don't think this title holds the weight that we're putting on it as fans and as far as people in the league. Maybe for younger generations, for sure. Like it'll be a thing like a few years down the road, but I don't think it'll hold the weight because people, you know how people are. Like people will qualify it. Oh yeah, but Braun was hurt. Oh yeah, but so and so were hurt. So and so. And I just feel like it won't hold that kind of weight.
Yeah, it's COVID.
Let's see if they run it back though.
I mean, I've said numerous times there's asterisk on both seasons, right? And the only thing I would respond to, Keem, is that I will admit here on the pod, I am biased. And the reason I'm biased, I fucking hate Steph Curry style of basketball, and I want big men fighting in the paint. I hate jacking up threes. It has been terrible. I can't stand it. That's why USA is getting his ass kicked in the Olympics, because we don't know how to play basketball anymore. It's just bullshit.
Basketball works better with the big that you're talking about, though.
Huh? No, a combination. Yeah,
but calm down. Calm down.
You got Rudy Gobert getting Defensive Player of the Year because he stands under the goddamn bucket and nobody does anything because everybody shoot threes.
Relax. It's
okay.
But like to your point, like you look at Giannis and he can play with a player like Steph because you want with a player like Giannis, you want 4 out, 1 in. And you give him if that's why I thought the talk to Giannis to Golden State, it's fucking over. Like he extends Steph's prime the way Kareem extended Magic's. Like it would have been great.
Yeah, like you have to double Giannis, which leaves somebody open.
And that's fucking dangerous.
When he comes back.
But it's the old school recipe, man. You have the big man in the paint batting out with the boys. You got a ball handler and you got shooters. That's it. That's literally it. That's all you have to do. Is you got the dude that takes it down the court, pass it inside the big guy. Big guy looks at it. You double him, pass it out. What? We got shooters. Ray Allen did it. Reggie Miller did it. It's how my grandfather did it. How my great-grandfather did it. This is the way basketball worked. All right? And then we got away from that. Now there's no positions in basketball, and everybody just jacking balls up from 40 feet out. Don't make no goddamn sense.
27% field goal percentage.
That last part was the cold open. That was because jacking balls up did it for me. I think that's
That shit is ridiculous. It's like I remember as a kid. I remember as a kid, like playing NBA Live in like high school and shit before TK really took over. And it was always you had the asshole you played that were just jacking up threes, and you're like, "Dog, are you even taking this seriously? Are you even playing the game?
He's on fire."
It's just you fucking piece.
I mean, it's the same. Like it's just evolution of the game.
I am the old curmudgeon white man with the newspaper at the baseball game talking about how people are ruining it. Okay,
no wonder.
Ryan, yeah, I'm sorry, I called you out a little bit,
but it's the same thing. Like I'll bring this something close to my heart. The tight end position, the NFL changed. Like you went from just the blockers to now you got Darren Waller's, Travis Kelce's, and all them running around. So,
Yeah.
But good,
yeah, Mark
good,
Andrews.
Good,
Yep.
still good at blocking. Being a good blocking tight end allows you
Kittle
to
is the
then
ultimate
go
number
also catch the ball because they actually
Yeah.
think you're blocking.
That's
So,
the thing is like the one thing I push back with the NFL on that is the size of these guys. Pause. The
jacking up balls and big size guys.
tight ends.
Waller was a wide receiver.
But here's the thing: it's like these freaks of nature.
Mhm.
You have the height and the weight to be able to run this amount of to be able to run this fast, puts you in a position where you are kind of a tweener type. Like you're not a full wide receiver in the NFL because you're not fast enough to do it. But then if you're looking at your size, you need to be able to do both. That to me is always the difference between great tight ends and that is that they've been able. And who do you say excels at it? It's that basketball mold of just that freak athlete type, right?
I blame Alchie Crumpler.
It's like I need to be able to block. I need to be able to block, but not as good as a tackle. And then I need to be able to catch and run routes, but not as good as a wide receiver. It's a perfect spot for just these freaks and they just the athletes.
It's just a lineman who's fast.
Yeah, kind of.
No, it's fucking bullshit. But all right,
I get what you're saying, Ryan. I get what you're saying.
don't say it. Fucking line. All right, whatever. All right, so you guys want to add anything in regards to the season recap? Like, what was the biggest part of this season before you?
Before me?
Like, what was the biggest part of this season for you?
I saw you before me. I was like before
you in your mind.
Nothing is before me. I'm the creator.
Did I just become? No, for me, it's definitely Giannis finally become like he's been very good, very fun to watch. But those last couple games, you saw what I hope to be the next 15 years of Giannis. Because that shit was amazing. Just taking like DeAndre Ayton had like games of like 20, 24 rebounds. He looked like a child in there.
All right, hold on. I have a question.
That's a big man.
Embiid say wasn't it Ayton that Embiid was talking about when they tried to compare him to Embiid and Embiid was like, no, but I play defense? Was you talking about Ayton?
I think we're talking about Jokic.
Yeah.
Nah.
I think we're talking about Jokic.
Somebody just got drafted and they were comparing him and he was like, nah, I play defense. Because he said this during the draft.
I don't recall.
I don't recall.
I don't know.
I keep talking. But Ayton's like,
okay.
I don't think Ayton's like known for defense. There's no way he's going to take Giannis.
Ayton's not known for anything just yet, other than we're trying to still figure out who he's going to be.
Yeah, I mean he's an elite rebounder. He was an elite scorer there for a little bit in the playoffs. So
I think sorry. Okay.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I think he kind of is. I think he peaks out as like the third best player on the championship team type of guy. Like he's not.
If he puts on some weight though.
For sure, he can grow because people were doing the comparison. I don't know if you guys noticed, like the Jordan draft versus that draft. How like this Jordan was Luka, and then you got like Trae Young, who's a all-star, superstar, top caliber player. And they was trying to say Ayton would be Hakeem. I was like,
Lest we forget when Giannis entered the league, he looked like a toothpick.
He did.
Nah, it wasn't. It was Ayton that he was talking about.
Well, I kind of like Ayton Keem just because you know how Keem ends up at the end feels a little shitty as far as that comparison goes. But I mean, look, Keem Olajuwon, he went 10 years before he won anything, right? So I mean, it's like there's
year and
right.
MVP.
But Ayton to me was like we were going into these finals. It was kind of like, all right, I feel as though this finals could have the impact on us knowing what Ayton's going to be. Because there were moments where you're like, wow, he's making that draft position look like he earned that shit. And but I think that right now, what you're seeing is, I think he just came up against a guy who figured it out. I don't think that you can extrapolate what Giannis did to him, like as far as what his career is going to be.
Yeah, I mean, he just plans. The only person that truly dominated him this playoffs was Giannis.
I hope it didn't take his confidence though. Like that to me was the only thing, is like because I can see Giannis was looking him dead in his fucking face. He was trying to take his heart.
But he went to the finals as a rookie and was a big part of it. So there's nothing.
Luka and Trae Young were in that draft class.
That's tough to take away from him. Or is he a second year? He's second year, but still.
Who, Aiden?
Yeah.
But the same thing with the NBA. The thing with the NBA
count.
The thing with the NBA is, we've talked about it when it comes to the drafts. This is a crapshoot, right? So to me, earning draft stock doesn't necessarily mean, even if you're number one overall, that you're the best player out of the draft. It just means it doesn't look ridiculous that we drafted you. So like, as long as you're a starter, as long as you're a contributor, if you're like what Keem says, is he's the third best on a championship team, I'll take that compared to a lot of the other fucking busting you would usually get high up in a draft. So I mean, I'm just saying, you earn in basketball, you earn it, especially if it's not one of those years where you have these absolute phenom that everybody knew was just going to be the guy that they hype up like crazy. If you don't have that, I want you to, if you're a lottery pick, shit, just be a starter in the league for a while. Goddamn.
Piggybacking off of that point, James asked like, what was our like NBA recap? And for me, I took two things away from it. One thing was, like you guys were saying, like I would say the certification of Giannis is who he is. Like everybody like always kind of kept him top five, things like that. Like, oh, he's great regular season, not great playoffs. And so like this was a certification of he's great both. Like he's just great now. Like I think for the rest of, at least this buys him 5 years of I'll at least be in everybody's top three. And so that's one thing that I took from this season. And my last thing was the failure of Golden State to surround Steph with enough talent to put him in a championship window. They had, like, you've seen teams make trades and everything. Clay went down and they were just like, oh, okay, well, we'll just play the season out. Like they didn't make any trades.
Back it in. Let's try again next year.
Yeah. And like, fam, you have Steph Curry. You fucking failed. You also should have drafted LaMelo Ball, which was my biggest thing, like going into the draft for the Golden State. I just thought it was fucking, I don't know. It's smart as hell to draft LaMelo Ball because you want a version of Draymond that can shoot, play offense, and he can be your lead guard, dish the ball. And then because you guys have shown that you don't really need a true center to win, or if you need a JaVale McGee, go get JaVale McGee to play 20 to 25 minutes for you. Let Draymond play the rest in the playoffs. Doesn't really matter. And so those are my two things. Golden State failing Steph, and the fact that Giannis is certified now.
If I'm having to look at my absolute takeaways from the season, it's Giannis has arrived finally, and the guy who I always thought he would be, old Shaq type. And then beyond that, it's the change of the guard. I think that right now, I still think 1 or 2 years, you're probably still going to see one of these guys from, I say, our generation, the guys that we kind of saw play throughout. You might see one more championship out of this group, but I'm talking about the KDs, Steph, Bron, that core who've led the NBA for the last 15 years, right? We're starting to see that the era is changing. And right now, I actually think the future is extremely bright. This playoffs highlighted a lot of very, very good young guys. I'm excited to see what happens with Devin Booker going forward. I'm excited to see what happens with Trae Young going forward. Luka is a phenom. Giannis is in this group. Don't get it twisted. He's in this group. That to me is, it's the twilight time. Like, we're starting to see the end of that era. It's just going to be crazy for us to think we're going to watch basketball without LeBron in anymore, but we're getting old, gents. Like, it's just, this is what it is. And I don't think they're getting any healthier. I think that right now we've seen them do the most they can do, and they're going to need that help in order to try to squeak out one, which is why I think next year, Brooklyn or LA, one of these teams might get it, is just like a final farewell to an era, but it's over. Like, there's no more dominance for 10 years with these guys anymore. We got to look to who the new guys are.
Kyrie, KD, and LeBron, just for one final hurrah. And then
That'd be
Yeah,
hilarious.
fire.
Bron or Harden?
Oh no, they're all going to LA.
Oh my god.
So I'll meet at LA. Let's go vet men. Like just get
All
in.
right.
Yeah.
LeBron, make another Space Jam. Get us some
All
paydays.
right, guys. Speaking of LA, the Lakers are going after CP3 and Russ, and it's reported that they're trying to do a sign-in trade with Dennis Schroeder, THT, and Kuzma to the Wizards for Russ. But I don't think that's just gonna happen. So let's move on to our top 10. So let me go first, because I said so.
I respect it.
Yeah, my number one player for next year is KD. Number 2 is Giannis. Number 3 is LeBron. Number 4 is Steph. Number 5 is Luka. Number 6 is Dame. Number 7 is Kawhi. Number 8 is Jokic. Number 9 is Harden. And number 10 is Embiid.
Oh,
Oh,
we're very similar.
Okay. All right. So does anybody have any comments about that?
no,
You're
we're
wrong about number 1.
Honestly,
That's fine.
You're wrong about.
I'm with you on number 1. I'm with you on number 1. We,
All right.
we did for that, but I'm with you on number
Yeah,
1.
I'm like, if you swap Giannis and KD on the Bucks, but all right, who wants to go next?
I'll go.
All right, go ahead.
Giannis, number 1.
Mhm.
Number 2, KD.
Okay.
Number 3, Bron.
Okay.
Number 4, Steph.
Uh-huh.
Number 5, Jokic.
Okay.
Number 6, Kawhi. Number 7, Harden. Number 8, Luka. Number 9, Dame. Number 10, Embiid.
I like your list. We disagree on something big that kind of changed it, but I like your list a lot.
Thank you.
All right.
Interesting.
Go ahead, Kim.
Okay, so I have number 1 KD, number 2 Steph, number 3 Giannis, number 4 Kawhi, number 5 Bron, number 6 Harden, number 7 Dame, number 8 Luka, number 9 AD, number 10 Jokic. I just want to qualify a couple things real quick. If you switch Steph and Giannis with that team, I think Steph could do the same thing and win a championship in the East. I think healthy Kawhi right now is better than Bron. Like, I don't know if you guys saw the graphic that showed like players' efficiency levels in like the regular season versus playoffs.
Mhm.
Only 3 people improved. And that's for career. And that's AD, Kawhi, and Donovan Mitchell. They're the only 3 whose efficiency goes up in the playoffs. And so like healthy Kawhi is better than healthy Bron right now. Bron kind of coasts through the regular season, does what he does, and then he locks in the playoffs, and he can be of a top 1 level, but not necessarily. He's not that all of the time. And as you can see, he can win that series without AD. And I think if you were still probably like, I think 2018 Bron wins that series is my point. And so,
But we're post Space Jam LeBron right now, so
I actually like the movie, but all right.
I'm not.
I didn't mind it either. I didn't mind it.
I didn't like it.
There's only one thing that really.
Supposed to be like.
Are we doing final thoughts? I want to do a final thought about.
I haven't done
Space
my
Jam. Sorry,
fucking-
I know. I'm prefacing.
Go ahead.
Sorry. Go ahead.
Last thing was the reason I have Dame over Luka is because he's clutch and he's been doing it a little bit longer. If Luka and Dame were in the league the same amount of time, I'm sure Luka would be above him. Then I have AD 9 and Jokic 10.
All right, go ahead, Ryan.
Well,
Number 1, Steph Curry.
no. Number 1, I got KD. Number 2, Giannis. Number 3, LeBron. 4, Dame. 5, Kawhi. 6, Steph Curry. 7, Luka. 8, Jokic. 9, Harden. 10, Embiid. It sounds like our lists are pretty similar.
Yeah.
Anthony Davis is now not even on my list. So
Yeah, mine either.
Yeah, I'm not gonna let it.
Neither is Khadid's either. And it was funny because didn't you say he was the number 2? Like, so he went from number 2 to
Going into the season, I think it's now official. He's made of toothpicks.
yeah,
He's not. He can't. The best
but-
availability counts for something, guys.
Let me ask you
I
this
don't-
question then. Let me ask you this important question. The reason why I dropped Kawhi down to 7 is because he has a partially torn ACL, which is kind of the same mold of the issue that you have with AD, is that he's always hurt.
Yes.
Like, there's no reason that Ty Lue's like, hey, guys, like we had Kawhi, we asked him to do too much and he got tired. Like, he's fucking what? He's not even 30.
Yeah, no, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. So like, you gotta keep the same energy with Kawhi that you got with AD.
No, I don't.
My energy with Kawhi and AD also goes on like I'm also looking at where the teams ended up at the end and like where it is that people were expected compared to not expected and what performances were like in the playoffs. The only one that got any boost and I wanted to take him down was Steph, just due to the fact that he didn't make the playoffs. So I look at that, but I'm also looking at like the guys around him like, I don't know. I actually don't think there's a part of me that the reason earlier in the episode when I was saying that I did a pushback as far as people saying that like LeBron and AD had nobody around him. Actually, Kuzma, Schroeder, all those guys, I think that they're laughing stocks now for the most part, but I don't think they suck. I don't. But that's my thing. Is like
that's why he's not in my top 4.
I think they disappointed as shit. Like they disappointed everybody in what it is they did and how they performed. But I don't know. I didn't see Bron and AD.
Well, I mean, if you're on the Lakers, right, and you're with LeBron and AD, and then it's like, all right, now we just need like you just to do whatever and like be like a B+ player. If they're C+, you're gonna look at them like, but they're still
they look bad. They look bad by comparison. That makes sense. It makes sense. But the only thing I really wanted to comment on was that I'm the only one that got number 1 correct with Giannis, you're
overreacting.
Right.
Here's what I'm not overreacting to. Here's what I'm not overreacting to. He's 26 years old. He's got 2 MVPs, double the amount of MVPs as KD. He's got a Defensive Player of the Year. He's once again 26 years old. He's won a championship 2 years before Bron did, 2 years before Jordan did, and a year before Steph did. He's 26 years old. He's like Shaq, but actually works out. That to me trends upward. There's nobody, KD, no one that's stopping him when he's got a ball in his hands. Period.
Watch him.
I'd like to see KD try.
Watch him miss the playoffs next year.
KD looked like the angry unk over in fucking Tokyo while I fucking singing happy birthday and everything to his ass. He's fucking angry and mean all the goddamn time.
His birthday.
Yeah. It was hilarious. No, they're bothering him because he's so fucking thin-skinned on certain shit. He just smile, KD. Goddamn smile, you asshole.
This episode, we're gonna see.
I just have one question for K-Dot. I just have one question. Who was the best player in the Milwaukee Brooklyn Nets series?
Oh, at that point, KD.
What you mean that the series ended and he was the fucking best player? It shouldn't change because he went home.
He went home and someone else won a championship.
Oh,
that's the difference. KD's over there measuring his shoe. Man, I don't know how that didn't happen. Well, Giannis won a championship. KD's over in Tokyo getting beat by Nigeria. Giannis won a championship. KD's about to be one of the first teams to get gold in fucking the Olympics. Giannis won a championship. He scored 50 points in a fucking closer.
You're so loud.
You know, you have to talk
he
so
scored
loud.
50 points in a closeout game.
Yeah, that mic's not gonna work soon.
Yeah. Jesus. I'm sorry for the audio people. All right. Well, K-Dot is wrong because we told you. And final thoughts. So who wants to go first? K-Dot, you want to go first?
I gotta go to a wedding. I don't want
I
to
can go first. I'll start off by saying James sucked my motherfucking dick. Outside of that, Space Jam 2 was fine. It wasn't any worse or any better than the first Space Jam because everybody just gets quality mistaken for nostalgia. The movies both suck ass. They're not for you. They're for kids. There's only one thing about Space Jam 2 that really did bug me, though. Why the fuck was the audience so happy about potentially getting trapped in the computer all fucking forever?
I haven't seen
They were shut up. Who gives a shit? They literally are. When the kid comes on, they're basically like, "Yo, if this guy wins the game, you guys are stuck here in the server." Yeah, basketball. I'm like, it took me out of the entire movie, which I know is ridiculous, but to watch everybody else, I'm like, y'all realize y'all about to be like enslaved.
LeBron's son in the movie pissed me off.
Not to mention Warner Brothers. Is there a lawsuit? Is there a lawsuit afterwards? Like, hey, I got sucked into my phone being on your app. Does Warner Brothers still exist after this goddamn thing? It was just there were certain things I'm just like, that just bothers me.
I mean, it's Space Jam. Like, that's how it's supposed to be.
Yeah, but if you're a kid and can't even point out those holes, you're a dumbass kid. Like, at least don't make it that stupid. When I watched the original Space
Jam, when
I watched the original Space Jam, I remember at the end of the movie when Jordan comes down on a spaceship, I'm like, he got sucked in the ground. Why is he coming from space? I thought Looney Tune Land was in the ground.
man,
Like, why is he there doing that?
Thinking of that shit.
Man,
When Bill Murray shows up out of nowhere, how'd
Man,
you get here?
You were just singing that fucking song. We were only singing that fucking song.
Nah, y'all was singing that song. I knew he liked to play with little girls and people.
I didn't know shit because I didn't know shit about that dude.
I knew he kept singing about AJ. He wrote AJ number to number, and I'm like,
Man,
that's a problem.
You're a kid thinking about that shit.
I never believed in
crazy.
Santa Claus. I watched CNN when I was like 4. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Ryan, you're good.
Walk around the world just
Ryan, you're good.
suck my dick.
K-Dot is unhappy now because he was unhappy then. I have a wedding to go to that is going to be miserable. But guess what I get to do the entire wedding? Thank you, Mets, for starting your game at 7:10 tonight so I can sit in the last pew and watch you play what might be a very surprising standout in the Toronto Blue Jays this year. They're fucking good. Vlad Guerrero Jr., that man lost 30 pounds, and now he's hitting home runs like 900 feet. So happy. What do you say when someone gets married? Congrats.
Yeah,
Happy
congratulations.
weddings. Like,
Are you a human being? Yeah,
Ugh.
congrats. Fuck. How do I tell people that I feel happy for them?
Oh, I don't. I've never wanted a marriage to fail more than this one. I'm so angry.
Watch this.
Can I chop this up so you can give it to him as a wedding gift?
No.
What I just said glitched the matrix.
Yeah. All right. So my final thought is the San Francisco Giants are the best team in baseball, but I haven't watched baseball all year. Whatever.
Yeah, they are very good.
Yep. That was it.
Keem?
Can Keem do it?
The Warriors don't feel stuff in the draft.
Warriors don't fail stuff in the
That's
draft.
all I got.
That's all he has.
That's all he had.
That's
Hey,
all
I
got.
repeated it though, so we good. Warriors don't fail stuff in the draft. Hey, you know what? Next
My
time this-
bottom lip's hitting the microphone.
just text it to me. I got you.
Curry.
All right. Ryan, let me know about Sunday because I'm getting pushback and I might not be able to be there on Sunday.
All right. If you can make it, whatever time.
On Saturday? Or no, whatever time on Sunday?
Yeah.
Like in the morning?
Ooh, well, if you're
That's
going
what I
to
said.
be here in the morning, just let me know.
All right.
Garage door's always open. Just come wake my ass up.
Fuck's sake, man. No, I'm not walking in your house. I'm gonna get shot.
James
Oh,
gonna
no.
get shot. Black home intruder and
Nobody-
clan.
Like,
Set
no.
'em up.
Nobody else is here.
I don't care. No.
Yeah, my neighbor probably comes shoot.
Yeah.
I
No.
saw this black guy probe in the garage
Exactly.
door. I shot him.
There's certain shit that we just don't do.
I love you all. I gotta go.
All
All right, if you didn't know, now you know because I told you Giannis, best player in the
You're
league,
wrong. You're
Hall
wrong.
of Famer
You're wrong.
already.
You're wrong.
Done deal. Done deal.
You're wrong.